Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to Raptors Flex Plus. I am your host, Kyle, and you know the flex already, fam. Welcome back to another episode. This is episode 48. And this episode is coming off of the loss to the OKC Thunder in double overtime, 135-127. Listen, man, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like when you are developing. Okay? Obviously, you can't be happy with the Raptors blowing a 23-point lead on the road to a really good team, by the way. Like, the OKC Thunder, they are a young team, but they are a team that has an MVP candidate. They are a team that has a Rookie of the Year candidate. They are a team that has a Coach of the Year candidate. They are a team that, although they are young, a lot of their players have been playing together for a few seasons now, right? Like the Lou Dorts of the world and stuff. And what they are doing in the Western Conference is spectacular right now. All right. No one expected the Thunder to be first in the Western Conference this season so far to start the year. Okay. And with the Raptors reeling as of late, like we've been just losing games left, right, and center over the last 3 weeks or so. I don't think a lot of people expected us to be up by 23 in this ball game and to dominate the first half the way that we did. Defensively, in that first half, like that was some of the best defense that we've seen against a really good squad since maybe the Miami game, right? Which was what, 3 weeks ago now? 2 weeks ago. So we are seeing this Raptors team being able to put together some good basketball in small sample sizes. But for the most part, they just haven't seemed to be able to get back on track for the most part, right? Obviously, we've had injuries recently, and that's not to make excuses for the team, but it's real. It is what it is. When you have IQ out, RJ out, Pirtle out, Jonte Porter's out now, like we're losing depth in some positions. I mean, this team has kind of been behind the 8 ball or the hourglass, whatever you want to call it, for a little while now since making the trades to begin the year. I guess to end last year for OG Anunoby and the trade that we traded OG Anunoby to the Knicks for RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly, right? So we have recently now been able to see this team start to get somewhat healthy again. Like I would say that they are a healthy team right now, even if mans aren't playing like 100% in terms of your health. Like you're out there. And RJ Barrett back in the lineup tonight. Every time he plays, except for like the exception of one game, I forget what game it was, but it was the game where like prior to that game or something, Carmelo Anthony on his podcast said like RJ is kind of off. He gives you like 4 points and then like 21 points the next game, and he's just kind of just even killed demeanor. Maybe that was a nice way to say it. I forget exactly what he said. I'm paraphrasing it, but nevertheless, that one game is probably like the worst game so far that RJ has played out of the 14 that he's played for the Raptors right now. You know what I'm saying? Like RJ Barrett and IQ in the lineup with Scotty Barnes and now bringing back Jakob Poeltl, who has also been injured for a while. This team looks different, yo. This team looks different when those guys are out there. And what you saw in the first half was a team that is capable of playing with the better teams in the league. And the second half was a team that looks like they are just going through the growing pains, right? You're playing a team that obviously they're first in the West for a reason, right? Like they understand how to play with each other as teammates, right? And our team, the Raptors, we've just been kind of learning here over the last month, and guys have been in and out of the lineup. So that's not to make excuses for the L, right? Anytime you're up 23, you expect to win that game. And I saw the damn graphic. Saw the damn graphic on Sportsnet or whatever. Well, yeah, Alvin Williams calls it Sportsnet games, where the Raptors were basically second consecutively, where they've won 161 straight games or something when they were up 20 plus. And that's like 2 straight games now where the Raptors have just snapped a record, right? Because we had the assist record going where we tied the Showtime Lakers 84-85 for 25 plus assists per game. And what was it, 31 straight games or something like that? And then we just like wet the bed in the last game. So I don't know, like tonight we gave up the big lead. I don't really care about the records and all that because this may sound like a broken record if you listen to my channel, but it is development time here in Toronto. Okay, development time. All right. So that sets the stage. Now that's like the putting everything into context in terms of where I'm going with this episode. Okay. Obviously, this team is experiencing a lot of growing pains when you see them blow a lead like that. And you could look at the box score and if you didn't watch the game, be like, the Raptors just, crap the bed or whatever you want to say about that. But when you watch the game, man, it's not to point fingers at anybody or anything like that. Like, obviously, there's a lot of conversation around what the hell happened to Scotty Barnes in the fourth quarter, the first overtime, and the second overtime. Because mans were like milk box material, dog. Milk box material. Now, here's what I have to say on this, okay? I like Scotty Barnes, yo. I do. I think he could be a really good player in this league. Okay, really, really good player in this league, and he's going to be a integral part of what we are building and developing here in Toronto. Okay, but there's 2 things that I see from this game that I absolutely hated in the second half. Okay, number 1, Darko. Listen, man. I've been critical of Darko all season long. I mentioned I had a change of heart because I was saying he's going to be a one-and-done coach and all that, making jokes. But at the same time, I was cheesed when I was making those jokes. To turn the corner after the Miami game, and I'm like, you want to know what? Like, this guy's offense, as long as he has the players that fit the system, then I believe in Darko. If you give Darko pieces that don't match the system and ask him to build something around those players, I don't trust it as much. Okay. Now, I think the Raptors have started building out a roster that is more succinct to what Darko wants for his system. Okay. First and foremost. But I don't know what this man was thinking yesterday on some of these conceptual schemes and stuff that he decided was best for the team, right? I've been saying all season long that when Scotty Barnes gets the ball and like the rebound and he just goes, this team sees a lot of success when he does that. They look like a way different team when Scotty Barnes is doing that. However, when Scotty Barnes gets a rebound and he's looking around for the outlet, whether it's IQ or Schroeder, you're slowing up the team and you're taking the ball out of your best playmaker's hands, your best passer's hands, okay? Best passer's hands. Now, here's the catch-22 with this, or the decision that needs to be made, right? You want to develop Emmanuel Quickley as a point guard, right? Which means you need to have the ball in his hands. I understand that. Then the other side of that is, well, if you're not giving the ball to Scotty Barnes, now you're asking Scotty Barnes to play more off the ball and those types of things, right? Now, mind you, I think both players can have some areas of improvement to work on in those facets of the game, right? So I'm not mad at that. But when I'm thinking about what's best for the team in terms of the sequence of events, like if Scotty Barnes gets the rebound, it should really just be an all systems go. IQ has already shown when he was with the Knicks and here in Toronto that he can play really good off the ball. All right. He has no problems. He is very comfortable playing off the ball, getting the ball in set actions, and finding himself for either a three or finding himself on the move towards the bucket, or even just setting himself up in an ISO against a weaker defender or just a defender that you have the mismatch on. Okay. So don't let me lose you here. The sequence of events in terms of what I believe should happen and then the fallout from it. Scotty Barnes, you get the rebound, push the ball up the court. Stop looking for the outlet all the time, right? This guy is so dangerous in the open court. So dangerous in the open court. And it's more advantageous to the team when he's putting pressure on the defense going downhill, okay? Pressure on the defense going downhill. And I am totally comfortable with IQ setting up for a three if Scotty's able to suck in the defense on the drive and kick it out. Or mans are filling the lanes properly on the fast break or whatever. Next sequence of events. If nothing is there, pull it out. Sorry. You can pull out the ball, get the ball back over to IQ, and then set up your offense. Set up your offense. I have no problem with that because then you're developing IQ with the ball, basically owning the offense, setting up the offense, and then you have Scotty Barnes working off the ball, right? Where now he's getting development time. So both players are getting development times in roles where maybe they're not as dominant, right? Roles where they see some areas of improvement that could be better. So, like, I just don't get it last night. How every time in like the fourth quarter and overtimes, both of them, Scotty Barnes didn't bring the ball up the court. He brought the ball up the court once. And I think it was maybe the fourth quarter or maybe the first OT. And he got the ball over to Gary Trent Jr. on the wing. I believe it was the fourth quarter. And then Gary Trent drilled a three. Right? Because the defense now has to worry about Scotty Barnes in transition. I just don't understand how Darko just took the ball out of Scotty's hands like that for like the entirety of the fourth quarter when he was in there and both overtimes. Both of them. And I was wondering, I'm like, is Scotty hurt? Because remember how he kind of turned his ankle a little bit like late in the fourth quarter? And then he had to get back on defense. He got back. He didn't look like he had any ill effects. But then I'm like, why the hell doesn't he have, like, isn't he more aggressive with, like, his opportunities when he had the ball in his hands? Right? Because if you watch the game, there were so many opportunities where I thought IQ put his head down on the drives and he was missing Scotty Barnes in terms of just kicking it out to the three-point line or wherever. But Darko just had Scotty Barnes just like in the corners. In the corners. You know, and they asked him about this like during the press conference. I'm going to play a little piece of that in a second. But like you have Scotty Barnes just in the corners. I guess you're like, I don't know, keeping the defense honest because you're one of the better 3-point shooters on the Raptors. Is that like, was that the plan? I just don't get it, dog. Like, you're not putting your players in the best place to be successful yesterday. And if yesterday was really just about developing and seeing how guys are moving in certain situations, okay, that's cool too. But just come out and like, man, you have an opportunity to win a game that you're up 23 against the number one team in the West. Do you know what a win like that would do for the confidence and the morale of the team if you're able to just bust down the Thunder? Like, I just don't. I'm lost on that one, man. I'm lost on that one. And then when Scotty did get the ball, it's just quick pass out of his hands. I'm like, bro, are you hurt? Are you hurt? Because I'm just lost to understand how this guy was just not aggressive at all, like looking to like score the basketball in the fourth quarter and in both overtimes. Like that doesn't make any sense to me, man. Any sense to me. And like, where was the ball movement too? So much ISO all over the place. And here's the thing too. Let me just take a sip of water real quick, y'all. Sorry about that. Right? Like a lot of the time with like the better teams that have a superstar, because I talk about this all the time, right? Guys that can just go and get themselves their own shot in like crunch time moments and stuff. A lot of time when it comes down to fourth quarter and in OT and stuff, you really want the ball in the hands of your best like player that can create shots for himself. Right? Unless you're like the Warriors or something, and you just have shooters all over the court. Not like the new Warriors, or I guess the old Warriors now, but like the Warriors like 4 years ago, like that type of team, and you just want the ball in Draymond's hands because mans are running around screens and they're gonna get open or they're gonna find matchups. Like that's different. You know what I'm saying? Because like Draymond is the facilitator, and the way that offense is run is predicated on so much off-ball movements and screens. You know what I'm saying? Where it's hard for defenders to keep up for 48 minutes plus if you're talking about overtime, right? But the Raptors don't have that type of roster. So, like, I just don't understand what they were trying to do. It just looked to me like they were just going ISO heavy down the stretch, yo. Down the stretch, like we had Kawhi Leonard on the squad or something. Like, no disrespect to Emmanuel Quickly. Like, things will open up for him a lot more on the drive if he was making some of those passes to Scotty in the corner or making some of those passes to RJ Barrett. But like, I just did not like the offensive execution or even just the offensive like plan down the stretch of this game. It was not good. It was not good. And like, I've been talking recently just about like the mental approach to the game. And I've been watching a lot of Michael Jordan recently, and there's a lot of Kobe Bryant recently. I've been listening to even Tom Brady recently. He had an interview on Pat McAfee show. And I'm just like, yo, listening to these guys talk, they just have a different mentality on their approach to the game, right? Like there is a time to get your teammates involved in all those types of things because it's important, yo. It's important that you make sure guys have confidence and you get them in the game. But when it's time for you to like do your job and like go put the ball in the basket or go make a throw if you're a quarterback, like, you know what I'm saying? There comes a time when you just have to like do something and it's on you, right? Where you know, I'm not passing this ball in this situation. Or I'm not handing it off to the running back in this situation, right? Like, it's goal time. And when Scotty Barnes had the ball in his hands a few times, I'm like, okay, he got the ball in his hands now. They've been neglecting him. I don't care if it was like, I would have cared if it was like a forced shot, right? But if you like attempt to like get to the bucket and put some pressure on the defense, like that would open up so much more for your teammates, even just for Quickly, man. So like it's twofold here. I don't feel like Darko put these guys in the right position yesterday to go win this game. And I felt like when guys had an opportunity with the ball in their hands, i.e. Scotty Barnes, you didn't really take advantage of that, dog. You're just looking to pass the way too passive. Way too passive. All right. So obviously these are like the growing pains of a young team that are just gonna happen, especially because these guys haven't been playing together for like, a very long time, a month maximum, but you really can't even say that because, mans have been in and out the lineup like. But you had an opportunity to go like win a game against a really good team and you fumbled the bag, yo. You fumbled the bag, you know? And I don't want to lose like sight in terms of what we're trying to do and what we're trying to build here in Toronto. But I guess this is something that we're gonna have to learn from, man. And I've been talking a lot about film recently, and like how I think Mans will like it'll be a very important part of the development. And I was really talking about Scotty Barnes, but I also talked about how if he becomes a pro at looking at film, then his teammates will kind of follow lead with that. But shit. I hit the crowd applause button by accident. Yeah, I didn't even do that. But anyways, they asked Darko about the growing pains of this young team, right? So let's just go ahead and share this real quickly. And let's see what he had to say about it, man. Okay, let's add this to the screen. Boom.
It seemed like Scotty was very hesitant to be involved down the stretch offensively. Obviously, a lot of minutes. What did you see? Why wasn't he able to get involved in the overtimes in the last few minutes?
Yeah, first of all, we were looking for less of the matchups there, trying to get against players who were in a foul situation. Also, when we went to him, he was trying to connect with teammates and find them for shots. And it's also for him to understand how he needs to affect the game in those moments. And sometimes that's like with all ball cut, or it's a good spacing, and sometimes with on the ball and then creating on the ball as well. So it was good game for us to learn how to handle those situations tonight.
That last play of of the first overtime, was it just designed for Scotty to get it and make a read? And
yes, we wanted the ball in his hands to create there, and in situations like that, we were going to quickly a couple of times in a row. We just wanted to give it a different look there at the end because they were ready for that.
What did you see tonight from Jakob Poeltl, as he was pretty effective on both sides in the paint?
After missing 4 weeks, coming back to play, he's finding his rhythm. I thought that he did a lot of great stuff for us tonight. He did a better job of protecting the rim. He did a good job playing in pick and rolls, in short rolls. I thought that he played a very effective game.
Thanks for watching the Toronto Raptors YouTube channel.
Oh, boy.
Check out our latest video.
Man. Why we always got Jalen McDaniels at the end of these YouTube Raptors? Anyways, I thought it was very interesting what Darko said here, just in terms of putting the onus on Scotty Barnes to read the game, make the right cuts, and those types of things. Because I was saying that about the last episode in terms of the importance of film. Okay, and Darko also talked about learning from this opportunity. They're going to put on the film and they're going to learn from this. And these are the types of things that I'm talking about, right? And although I didn't like the fact that Darko didn't use Scotty on the ball enough, right? You kind of had him in the corners and these types of things. But he's right. Darko is right. Scotty Barnes is going to have to learn how to read the game, make those cuts, and, affect the game in different ways. I do agree with that. I also think that Darko should have given him the ball just a little bit more on the ball type of stuff. Right? So, again, it's development time. These are the growing pains of a young team. And just like I said in the last episode, I really want to see how Scotty Barnes is going to start utilizing film to make himself a better player. Right? You can't just camp out in the corners for like the entire fourth quarter and overtime. Like, that's just not acceptable. That's just not acceptable. You're not going to win games that way, yo. You're just not. And going into a second overtime tonight, like, it probably shouldn't even have got to a first overtime, because if you remember what happened at the end of the fourth quarter, Shai, like the Raptors played some good defense on Shai. He took like a fall away J from just past the free throw line, I believe, and it went front rim, and RJ Barrett got the rebound. Like, in a situation like that, right? RJ gets the rebound and then he starts dribbling towards the sideline. But like, you also need to be aware of how much time is on the clock. Be aware of your timeout situation. And if he would have got that rebound and just hugged the ball and called timeout or something, this game is over. You win this game. We're not even talking about Scotty Barnes's lack of thereof showing up in overtime, right? The narrative in this game would just be like, yo, the Raptors played a fantastic first half against the Thunder. They gave up a lead in the second half to the number one team in the West, but then they found a way to just pull out a gutsy W on the road on the first night of a back-to-back. Like, that would have been the narrative if RJ Barrett doesn't dribble towards the sideline, has some more awareness about the defenders around him, right? Because at that time, the Thunder, they're either looking to do two things: poke the ball away, which they did, or foul. One of the two. So you got to be aware. So not RJ's best moment. That's also a situation where I feel like he's going to have to learn from also. And just unfortunate, man. Just unfortunate events that led to this L tonight. But the overall thing for me is I still felt like the Raptors played a good game. All those things that I just said of what the narrative would have been still hold true in my eyes, personally, right? We played an amazing first half. Amazing first half. The Thunder made a run. Although in that run, I feel like the Raptors gave up way too many offensive rebounds. Way too many offensive rebounds. And these are the things that I've been talking about too for like the longest. I'm like, yo, the Raptors front court has just been a problem for me since preseason. I've been just banging the table for we need another big for these types of situations. Like Pirtle's coming off an injury, so you're watching his minutes. I believe he was kind of in foul trouble as well. Let me just take a quick look at what foul. I believe he was playing with like 5 fouls or something last night. Let me just check the quick box score real quick. And yeah, he was playing with 5 fouls. So like you had him out for like a long stretch of the game. He played 33 minutes last night. But when you think about it, like in a regular 48 minutes games, I expect Pirtle to play 33 minutes. But then you add on basically another quarter. So like we're missing a big in the middle for like the longest. And the Thunder were able to just get those rebounds, second chance points, things of that nature. And again, trade deadline is 3 days away on Thursday. I don't know if we're going to address the big situation, but it's going to need to be addressed in some way, shape, or form. And I do say that I don't want the Raptors to like draft for need. I want them to draft BPA, best player available, whatever position that turns out to be. But you got to address the big position in some way, like the backup big position. I am totally fine with Pirtle being our starting center, unless you're able to trade for a guy like Nick Claxton or something, because I know that that's been a conversation that's been going around also. But truthfully, I'm okay with Pirtle playing the 5 position. I feel like he's efficient in terms of scoring the ball. He can rebound the ball. I've seen him anchor the defense and protect the paint by defending the rim. I've seen him do all these types of things. I've seen him set up good screens, good in the pick and roll, not good in the pick and pop. So maybe working on his jumper would help a little bit too, but maybe this is just who he is at this point. And I feel like all around he's a pretty tough player, right? Pretty tough player. So I'm not mad at Pirtle at all, but if you're going to have Pirtle as your starting 5, you need something else off the bench. Jonte Porter is not the answer. Jonte Porter to me is a good third big, where, you know, mans are injured and now he's your backup big, or mans are in foul trouble, like real foul trouble. Now he's your backup big to come in and give you a little 4 or 5 minutes on the court if need be. You know what I'm saying? So Man, the loss of Christian Coloco really killed this team, man. Really killed this team in terms of the optimism about the front court. Really did, man. We're back to the drawing board on that one. But I digress. Like the Thunder were just more they play with more energy than us in that second half, man. Just more energy. I don't know if it's like the Raptors were just more lethargic maybe in the second half, but I'm not even saying that. I just felt like the Thunder played with more energy, yo, and they got to the offensive boards and got the second chance points. And defensively, we had some breakdowns. There's that one Josh Giddey three. The one Josh Giddey three that just bothered the heck out of me, yo. Like the ball swung around and Josh Giddey got the ball at like top of the break three, like left wing break three. And Scotty Barnes is like, I don't know, he like V-cut on defense towards the rim, like he was just gonna go get the rebound and didn't even think about Josh Giddey shooting the three. Now, I know like mans aren't too worried about Josh Giddey shooting the three, but like, come on, man. You gotta like at least just show yourself that you're gonna like play some defense, and maybe he doesn't take that three and you're able to play the passing lanes or something. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta do something more than that. Like the communication on this team defensively in this game had some breakdowns in critical moments. There's that Josh Giddey three, and then the inbounds play where the Thunder tied up the game with like 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter, where RJ Barrett just had his back to the passer, like the inbounds passer. Like, come on, man. Like Darko, like I hate that. I hate that. And if you're gonna play that, then like RJ needs to be like communicating for real. But at the same time, he can't see when the ball's coming in. So I don't know if that was just a communication breakdown or I don't know. But clearly Darko was out-coached on that play by Mark Daigneault. And these are things where I think the growing pains of the team come into play, right? The coaching needs to be better in terms of putting your players in a better position. The players got to be better in terms of boxing out, right? Playing with more energy, right? Because the energy was different from the first to second half. Tale of two halves, you know, they say that all the time, right? So, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not totally mad. I think there's a lot of good things on the game film when they go back and look at it that the Raptors can continue to do, especially from that first half. But there are definitely some things that need to be cleaned up based on what we saw in the second half and overtime. Like Scotty Barnes getting like a handful of shots. I think he only had like 3 shots or something like that in the fourth quarter and overtime. Like, take a look at this shot chart, man. This is like ridiculous what I'm seeing with this shot chart. Okay. This is from NBA.com. This is Scotty Barnes in the fourth quarter. Look at that. He had 1 around the basket and then another miss here. So that you took 2 shots in the fourth quarter. Okay. Now look at the first overtime. Nothing. You got nothing in the first overtime. This is your best player that you're saying is going to be the face of the NBA, right? Obviously, I feel like Darko probably taken out of context a little bit there, but you have high aspirations for Scotty Barnes, and you're telling me he got no shots here in the first overtime, and then the second overtime, 1 shot, which was a wing 3, that was an air ball. I don't know, man. Like, that's why I started thinking, I'm like, yo, is Scotty hurt? Is Scotty hurt? Because, yo, he airballed the 3, but I just think that he was kind of disinterested in a way, right? Because he wasn't getting the ball, and when he was getting the ball, he was just making a pass. I'm really not sure what the communication was between Scotty Barnes and Darko in that fourth quarter and overtime, man. It just was not good in terms of working to get your better player open, man. So that's the deal, man. Raptors end up taking the L. And right now, to be honest with you, the Raptors are like literally one of the worst teams in the NBA recently, if not like the worst in terms of win-loss record. Right? If my memory serves me correctly, we've lost 11 of 13 games, or it might even be 12 of 14 right now. That is not good, man. And I know that man's have been in and out the lineup and stuff, but like that's like some Piston stuff, y'all. And this team is much more talented than the Detroit Pistons. Ah, man, the fact that I'm even putting us in that category, I'm sorry, y'all. I did not mean to do that. It just literally came off the brain. I speak from the heart. We've been playing decent basketball, but an L is an L. An L is an L, and you don't want them to start piling up the way that it is. Now, the silver lining is that you put yourself in position where potentially you might be able to get into the top 6 and keep your pick this year. But hypothetical, what if the Raptors like finish like bottom 6 in terms of record, but in the lottery somebody moves up ahead of you? Now you have the 7th pick, which would then go to the San Antonio Spurs. Like that would be a huge slap in the face for the type of season that we're having right now. That we would have had the 7th overall pick, right? If you didn't trade away the first overall, that top 6 protected to the Spurs, and you just giving it away to the Spurs. Anyways, well, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I think there's a lot that the Raptors need to work on in order to get back into the win column. Obviously, we had a nice win over the Bulls, and then prior to that, our last win was against the Heat. So those are 2 good wins with teams that are in front of you, but there's not a lot of teams behind you right now. So basically, any dubs that you're getting are teams that are in front of you for the most part. The Pelicans, they are ahead of you in the West. They have a better record. I think the Pelicans right now are 7th in the West. Let me just double check that now. Yeah, they are 7th in the West, right? Half a game behind Phoenix for 6th. So this is a team that's fighting to get into playoff position, right? Fighting to get into playoff position because they would rather stay out of the play-in. Like this is a game that I believe the Pelicans are gonna come out and try to win, right? You don't want to have these types of losses if you're the Pelicans to a team that's reeling in the Raptors, that's coming off of a double overtime loss on the road on Sunday where they've had to get onto the plane and you know how that goes on the back-to-backs, right? So it's going to be tough for the Raptors, man. We're going to have to see a lot more Grady Dick tomorrow. I don't know, man. Grady, I don't know, right? Mans are going to have to fight through it. And if Zion plays, he is an absolute, like, this is a bad matchup for the Raptors. Like, there's no one really that's going to guard Zion like that. Like, I don't know what the game plan is going to be, but I kind of like what the Raptors did tonight against Shai, right? They really forced the ball out of his hands, and they forced the other players to beat them. But when it came down to it, like, Shai was just making all the right reads, man. He had 14 assists last night. 14 assists. Damn near had a triple-double, man. This is a guy that averages, I think, 31 points a game. He only had 23 points last night, so he came in well under his 30 points per game average. But 14 assists does more than makes up for the -8 in scoring on your overall league average. And shout out to Shai, by the way, man. Another Canadian dog. Shout out, man. Yo, this guy is quickly becoming one of the best players in the NBA, right? The best players in the NBA. And where he's going to make his name. So first of all, he's going to be up there in the MVP voting. I don't think he'll get the MVP for the most part, right? I'm not even sure now. I guess Embiid is out, right? He has an injury now. So he's going to miss some time. So the NBA has like this games restriction now where I think it's 65 or 63 games or something that you need in order to be eligible for an MVP. So there's no Embiid. They still may have voter fatigue on Nikola Jokic. Luka Doncic. I think Dallas is like 9th or something like that in the West. They're 8th. And OKC's first in the West. So, I mean, shoot, it's very possible that Shai could get his first MVP this year. I might have to lay down a bet on that, for real, for real. I'm not even like a betting type of dude, but I might need to lay down a bet on that, yo. Other than that, you have like Antetokounmpo, but I think him and Dame kind of maybe cancel each other out a little bit, and I'm not sure about what they're doing with the Doc Rivers thing. I don't know, man. That's an interesting topic that I'm working on getting another roundtable episode going, another flex committee episode where I'm going to bring in some of my boys and we're going to have some topics. And that'll probably be one of them as well in terms of Milwaukee bringing in Doc Rivers halfway throughout the season and getting rid of Adrian Griffin. But as I digress, I mean, I don't think Antetokounmpo is going to get it. Man, you may very well see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander pull down an MVP this year. Unless the New York media is just biased and they want to go give it to Jalen Brunson or something. But, like, truthfully, it really should be Shai. You may have, like, a case with, like, Jason Tatum or something, but Shai is, like, he's like, yo, this team was not supposed to be in this position, man. They may sweep the awards this year in terms of MVP, Coach of the Year, and Rookie of the Year. Now, Rookie of the Year, I'm not so sure about, to be honest with you. Right? Obviously, it's a two-man race right now with Wemby and Chet, right? But like Wemby's the number one option on his team, yo, and he's putting up numbers across the board, offensively, defensively. Now, so is Chet, but Chet's not the number one option on the team. Like, you're literally playing with an MVP candidate in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who very well may end up being the MVP. I gotta check those odds, man. I'm gonna lay a bet down on that for real, for real. But yeah, man. And then like the summer that this guy had for FIBA, for Canada, where we're able to lock down the bronze. He was the best player on that. I think he was a all tournament first team player. Like, yo, this guy is coming along. Now, it'll be very interesting to see because the Clippers are also a team that right now they are looking like a team that could potentially make a finals. And I know like a lot of people would be like pumping the brakes on the Clippers because historically they've just been a team that just can't like get over the hump, right, and get into a finals. But this team is different, yo. This team is different. As long as Kawhi Leonard is healthy, then you got to believe in the Clippers. I think Paul George is out right now. I'm not sure how serious his injury is. But to me, the big guy is Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, as long as he is playing and he is healthy, because he went out in the playoffs last year. I think it was the first round or something. He got an injury, and then they just fell apart. But the Clippers are a team where that would be so interesting as a Western Conference final, right? Because the Clippers traded away Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right, to the Thunder in order to go grab Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, right? So, hey, man, full circle. It'd be an interesting moment. But shout out to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, man. Just a hell of a player, man. Hell of a player representing Canada, man. For sure. So, yeah, man, the Raptors are in the Big Easy tonight. New Orleans against the Pelicans. And it's going to be a tough one coming off a double overtime, man. But I want to see how this team shows some grit and some toughness tonight and some mental toughness, I mean, in just competing in this game. You have to compete. You come away with a dub. I mean, obviously, that is always the name of the game is to win. But mentally, I think this will go a long way for the Raptors if they are able to compete in this game and give themselves a real shot to win it, yo. So yeah, man, that is it for today. So if you made it to the end of this episode, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And if you're not subbed, please sub up, like, share, subscribe, comment down below if you're feeling the content or if you feel like, yo, dog, I got some stuff to say on this. Like, I'm willing to engage and chat and share, man, because I want to grow the channel. I want to continue growing the channel. And I'm just having a blast just talking about the Raptors. It's fun, yo. It's definitely fun. And this will be like the last call for the Toque, right? Last call for the Toque. If you want a chance to win the Toque, go to episode 46 and type "you know the flex" in the comments, and we'll do a draw to see who wins the Toque, man. And yeah. Just keep supporting, man. I appreciate everyone's support, like for real, man. I appreciate the support. And keep it locked for the next episode. I'm not sure exactly when I'll be back. Trade deadline is coming up on Thursday. So I think we have the Pelicans tonight, Monday, of course, and then we have the Hornets on Wednesday. So maybe I'll do an episode before the Hornets game. We'll see. But I'll definitely have some stuff to say on the trade deadline, and I'm working on getting another roundtable episode going. So, yo, that is it for today. So, yo, you know the flex. It's me, guy.